Live from the part of YouTube that shrinks your brain but grows other parts of your body, it is the Zankoku Tenshi Show. The show that proves that anyone with a camera and an internet connection can make a shitty video. And now, here is your host, the man who's lost his mind, but hey, he found himself a quarter. Yeah, Zankoku Tenshi.
Hello everybody in the internet, it is I, Zankoku, and welcome to the Zankoku Tenshi Show. I'm Zankoku Tenshi, and as always, I've got my tablet of wonderful, great things, and yeah, let's get right into it. Hello everyone in the chat. Not very talkative. My god. I gotta get my left and right all situated here. Anyways, not very talkative in the chat today, but whatever. Anyways, this is what I try to do is my weekly show where I talk about whatever, whenever, however. And so, anyways, let's get right into the topics of today. The first topic is Nintendo. What the fuck are you doing? Seriously, Nintendo. So Nintendo just recently fixed the problem with voice chat for online playing on the Nintendo Switch, and that is you download an app for your smartphone and use that to talk to people. Yeah, it's a gigantic mess, and you just start to wonder about what is going on with Nintendo. I mean, here we are after how many generations of video game consoles where we've had online chat for online gaming, and yet Nintendo still can't seem to figure out what the hell they're doing when it comes to that. Now, I know they're going to come out and say, well, we need to make it a little difficult because we can't, adequately make sure that young kids aren't accessing any inappropriateness on the chat, and therefore we need to make it hard for them to listen to bad language and all kinds of other things. And first of all, the people who are using the worst language on any online game is usually like a 10-year-old kid. Seriously, I played Call of Duty. Okay, so I know that those 10 and 12-year-olds, my goodness, they are dropping the F-bombs, they are dropping the C-bombs, especially British kids. Oh my god, British kids are like the most foul language. And 21 y'all, if you listen or pop in or hear this, you can confirm that there's some of the most garbage mouth people in the entire universe. So I mean, you know what? We need Nintendo to protect us, adults from horrifying kid language. But no, that's just a gigantic cop-out. What it is that they're just still trying to be different. And they thought, you know what? We're all about innovation and doing things outside of the box. Let's have a chat program that's so outside of the box, it's not even part of the actual system. I mean, it's basically Nintendo's telling you that, hey, just call your friends and talk to them on the phone while you play the game. I mean, that's almost like what it is in a way. I mean, there's no party chat, there's no friends list from your console. It's totally disintegrated, family friendly. Yeah, family friendly. I'm sure using even more I guess you would say bandwidth to run an app over the internet is totally family friendly. I don't know. It just boggles the mind how much Nintendo is screwing up the Switch, because the Switch is super popular. I mean, there are people who are just running over themselves trying to get some, and yet Nintendo can't provide enough stock for people. And then they do shit like this, and you just wonder, it's like, does Nintendo actually want to go out of business? I mean, I'm just wondering. I mean, they screw up the NES Classic. The SNES Classic is looking like it's going to be just a repeat. And then, you know, the Switch and this, it's just like, and people are getting, I mean, they're going to start just getting fed up. And it's like, yeah, you've got some good games, but you've got, what, 6 of them. And I can't get your system to play any of them anyways. What's the point? And now, if I'm going to talk to my friends online, I got to go through this rigmarole. I mean, I've seen pictures online where they're showing like the controller with like the phone attachment holder, and then a bunch of like cables it's a mess. It's a mess, and the whole thing is like, yeah, it's for Splatoon 2. People want to talk to their teammates and, I don't know, use strategy and stuff. I know a shooter game and wanting to talk to people, yeah, that's kind of a double-edged sword. But still, I mean, there are people who do that. I mean, I've played multiplayer games with a bunch of friends. Like Halo 3 in the Forge mode was super fun, and I cannot imagine trying to go through that with such a convoluted chat system as that. I mean, that's just, it's just ridiculous and stupid. And then of course you get a phone call. You gotta end the chat, go talk to the person on the phone. I mean, it's just like, whatever. I mean, it's stupid. I don't know what the hell Nintendo's doing. But I thought, you know, I heard about this and I'm going, oh God, I gotta talk about this. This is absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, so there you have it. Nintendo constantly amazes me by their inability to do things right with their consoles. Holy crap, seriously. Anyways, hey, hi, Grant Matsu. Sorry I didn't say hey or hi or whatever. I was just in the middle of the rant there for a second, though. But speaking of rants, this whole entire episode here is going to be me ranting about shit. I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm like, Death Note, yep, it's going to be a rant. Bill Nye, it's going to be a rant. Privacy, rant. And the last one's actually sort of like an intellectual discussion and stuff like that. But, oh my goodness. Alright, so, anyways, enough about Nintendo. I mean, I'm sure they're going to do something to screw up something. I'm sure they're going to get the license for Senran Kagura or something like that. And then they're going to have them all wear, like, I was about to say thongs. I'm like, no, that would be a good idea. No, they smocks. They'd be all wearing smocks or something, and they take the whole declothing thing out of the game or something. I just know that's like a Nintendo thing to do, because they'll be like, you know what? Sex does not sell in North America, and North American gamers, according to our research, are between the ages of 3 and 7. And anyone above the age of 7, and especially those in the 18 to 36-year-old range, do not exist in America. No one in those ages play games, according to our crack Nintendo research. And they definitely don't like sexy anime babes. No, absolutely. That's a deal breaker. That's like a complete turnoff. God, don't say that, man. It might happen. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's Nintendo. I mean, it just, oh my God, holy shit. So, moving on to the next topic of rage. Death Note live action. Okay, so I've been avoiding watching the trailer, and I finally watched the Death Note trailer. You know, because and first of all, let's put this out here. I love the anime Death Note. I love it. I love that show. It's one of my top 10. It's a great show. It's smart. It's violent. It hits almost all the right notes. Also has like one of the awesomest opening songs. Man. By Maximum the Hormone. Just a great song. And that's one of the times when Adult Swim, I think it was on Adult Swim. Anyways, Cartoon Network, whether it was Adult Swim, it's probably Adult Swim, were saying the F word and not got dinged on it because, well, let's be honest, that opening song, no one could understand what they were saying, except I could, because I looked it up on the internet. Anyways, but anyway, so yeah, so yeah, you Ningen fuckers, they got to say that on cable television without any bad stuff happening to them because no one knows. Anyway, so that being said, when I heard there was going to be a live action remake, I've seen the first Japanese live action movie and was kind of so I didn't really have high hopes for this. And then I watched the trailer. I finally watched the trailer the other day, and I actually said, huh. I mean, I like Ryuk's character design and the fact the guy playing him is a legend, and so I think he can really hit that type of thing. The guy playing Light, yeah, basically, you know, yeah, he basically said human fuckers in the song, yeah. It was a Ningen fuckers, haha, Ningen suckers, you know, something like that. Anyways, What's Up People is the name of the song if you want to go look it up. What's Up People by Maximum the Hormone. But anyways, the guy playing Light, I'm like, okay. They didn't really name characters, but I figure that one was Misa, and I was very disappointed by who they had playing her, because that didn't really look like the Misa character I wanted to see, and I think a lot of people might wanted to see. And then what we would assume to be L, but these, at least from my information, these are not confirmed. So we only know, you know, Light, who Light is, and Ryuk, and those other characters may be different characters. They may have changed people around for the Netflix series. I don't know. But if they are who I think they are, then I'm very disappointed. For the first part is like, you know, Mika or Misa. Well, I don't know why I call her Mika. Anyways, she's not blonde. I'm sorry. She's got to be a blonde. I know stereotypes and ditzy blonde, but she, you know, the gothic lowly look, you know, the I guess you would say blonde scene girl look would probably be what she would be. I don't know. Just she more looked like, you know, the dark-haired pseudo goth chick thing, and seemed a bit more intelligent than. I mean, let's not get me wrong. Misa wasn't like completely stupid in the series, but she wasn't the brightest light. But you know, she was tricky and cunning in her own right. But really, my biggest problem is L, and no, not because he's a black guy. In fact, I don't really care about that. I mean. Yeah, see, blonde pigtails and all over his dick. That's what everyone expects, and is probably all in a bunch of doujinshi and fanfics too. But going back to L, so like, you know, him being black, big deal. I don't really care. The fact is, his temperament. Like, L isn't that guy who seems to be like, and angry and emotional, because it seems very emotional and kind of angry and, you know, righteous indignation in the trailer. And I'm like, that's not L. I mean, L is pretty calm, pretty analytical, pretty logical, and you know, he's calm, cool, and collected. And he seems very, like I would say, deliberate, but also, you know, kind of strange and eccentric in his own right. And I just, from what I saw in the trailer, that totally does not fit his character. And sure, okay, this might be a different person altogether. This might not be, you know, who I think it is, but they really set it up as the main, you know, I don't know, you would say antagonist against Light, but the main his foil, and of course in the original it's L. So I mean, I don't get it, and that brings me back to the whole thing when I was talking about Spider-Man: Homecoming. Like I really don't care, you know, that Flash was like an Indian guy, and that MJ is kind of like a mixed black. What I cared about was that their characters' temperament and how they act changed. Instead of Flash being like the football star jock bully, he's just a small little weak douchebag who could easily get taken in any fight he's in, and is like a weasel and just a totally different character. And like MJ, you know, is not like the MJ. She's like a budding outcast social justice do-gooder, and I just don't like that. It was like, make them a separate character, fine. Make them a different character. Introduce your new character. I don't care. Just don't screw with the main characters. Let them. I mean, you can give them nuance. You can get them. You can expand them a little bit, but don't change fundamentally who they are. And the fact that we've got L here, supposedly, you know, getting angry, you know, looking like he's getting emotional, and that's just not L, and that's a betrayal of the source material, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, you know, you can have the same actor, but just, you know, have the director go, no, L is this way, this way, and this way. I need you to play it that way. But I don't know. It just why do you got to do shit like that? I know it's. I mean, first of all, is it because the writers are racist? Because I mean, let's be honest. Are they saying that a black person in this world can't be calm, collected, can't be analytical, can't be like L is in the original series? Are they saying that's impossible? No one would believe a black person would be like that. Because if that's what they're saying, then the writers are racist. The writer, the director, they're racist. If the actor goes, no, there's no way a black guy would act like that, then I guess he's racist. I don't know. It's like, you can have nuance, and you can not be what you're doing. I mean, if they said that they're having a problem with that because they don't know if it fits their new vision of the character, then I don't agree with their new vision of the character. And it's like, seriously, just don't change characters. I mean, that way. My God, it's so stupid. That would be like them going back and then changing Iron Man and making him out to not be an arrogant playboy businessman, and instead like have him be like a humble Jesuit priest. I mean, that's just not Iron Man right there. At that point, that's not Iron Man. That's just, you just created a new character. So I mean, look, like, you can have the actor you want playing out, and yes, you can be whatever you want. You could be a female, for all I care. Just have that character be true to the character, and don't change it so that it seems more authentic to your predisposed notions of how that certain gender or race or person would be if they were of that gender or race. That's kind of stupid. I mean, my God, no wonder why Thomas Sowell gets all kinds of like guff, because, you know, Thomas Sowell would be the perfect L. He is calm, collected, analytical, and awesome. And, you know, if people don't know who Thomas Sowell is, well then, whatever, I don't care. Anyways, so yeah, it's just why do they gotta keep doing that and changing the characters to fit a certain thing? I mean, like, look, is it like going back to Spider-Man: Homecoming? Is it racist then to have like an Indian person be a football jock? Or no, I mean, not racist. No. Like, is it like because they couldn't make him a football jock? Is that basically because they're saying no one would believe that an Indian guy would become like captain of the football team? I'm like, no, it's because you never gave him the opportunity, Mr. Writer. You're the racist. That's that. What do they call that? They call that the soft bigotry of lower expectations. I mean, you know, you can be whatever you want, but as long as you fit within our definition of what you are, that's fine. I mean, I don't know. It's really just blowing my mind and irking me in all the wrong ways, because it's like, just don't change the characters. Just like the Ghostbusters reboot. If they just made them female versions of the already existing people, but kept them true to their characters, it might have not been as much of a disaster. I mean, it probably still would have been a disaster. But, I mean, the thing is, they changed everything, and I just don't like when they change. And they've already kind of changed Ryuk's character, because Ryuk was just basically, he just wanted to see what Light would do. He didn't really egg him on or give him, like, you know, pointers and stuff like that. But it appears that Ryuk is sort of, like, pushing Light a little bit, which is kind of, no, Ryuk was like, Light's making his choices, and I want to see how this plays out. And that's basically, you know, what his role was in the original series. Now it looks like he's more like, you know, tempting, and that just, once again, just irritates the heck out of me, because it's like, no, don't change the characters like that, because it becomes such a betrayal of the source material that I just so yeah, there we go. My rant about Death Note live action. I'm still gonna watch, you know, at least the first couple episodes, and hope that I'm wrong. Hope that, you know, some of this was played for impact for the trailer, but not necessarily is indicative of what all is going to be happening. And maybe that wasn't L, and maybe that wasn't Misa, and maybe there's more context to what Ryuk was doing. I don't know, but it's starting to look a little bit right about now. So anyways, so moving on from that rage fest to yet another rage fest, and I'm just going to talk about this because it just shows like how either low the standards are for the Emmys, or how, because it's about message more than it is about the actual artistry and skill involved. So Bill Nye, a lot of people might remember Bill Nye as Bill Nye the Science Guy, but I actually remember Bill Nye before that, when he was on that show that was on Comedy Central. I can't even remember the name of it, but whatever. It was a sketch comedy show, and they were basically all based, I think, in like Seattle, Washington, or something like that. And you know, they did like interesting things, like Alien Gumby, I think, was one of theirs. That could be Mad TV though. I don't know. It is. We're talking about like 90s. We're talking like way back machine type stuff. But anyways, but he was one of the guys. He did what? Speed Walker. Anyways, that was one of his characters that he was known for. But you know, he seemed like a goofy guy, kind of like I would say a Ryan Stiles type of character guy in that series. Anyways, but Bill Nye, he became the science guy, and then, you know, after that he got this show called Bill Nye Saves the World and whatever. Anyways, and on this show he had like this skit where I can't remember the name of the actress or singer or whatever. This woman comes out and she sings this song called Sex Junk, and it's basically if you have not seen this video, it is definitely worth a watch, because it's entertaining at how cringy it is. I mean, she's talking about like her vagina, and she's talking about, you know, of course, probably the plethora of genders, and you know, doesn't have to be man or woman, it could be something else, and things about like how, like, you know, you might like it if you get up on it. Basically saying he's like, you know, it doesn't matter if you're straight, just try gay sex because you might like it or something like that. I don't know. That's kind of what I got from that. Whatever, you know. And so the name of the song is called Sex Junk. And first of all, it is horribly written, and it is also horribly performed. I mean, she's not, like, it's like some sort of pseudo sing rap thing, and it's a sight to behold. You should watch it just so that you can just be at awe at how horribly awful it is. And the thing is, it's nominated for an Emmy. I mean, not really. I think the whole episode is for writing. And I'm just like, oh my god, seriously? How is that possible? I mean, sure, I guess if it was intentionally awkward and horrible to make you hate it and laugh at it for being horrible and awkward and not take it seriously, fine. Then kudos, you did your job. That was great. That is brilliance. But if it was, you know, serious and they think they were making, like, serious art and not being, you know, hilarious and off-putting and uncomfortable and cringy, then no, they failed. And then, of course, getting nominated for an Emmy because of that just shows that it's all about the talking the talking points. It's all about the message and not necessarily about the execution of the message thereof. And you know what? It is just crazy. Just freaking crazy. Anyways, I don't know. Oh my god, I just got a text message. Every week something's got something. Hey, at least they didn't call. They sent a text. So that's a little bit better. But it's like, what? I mean, why? Because everybody knows that they don't deserve. Oh, I mean, okay, well, that might be going out there a little bit. I mean, I guess some people might be delusional enough to think that they deserve it, but I've seen it where people say, you know, like I would say, like this is horrible. This is borderline unwatchable, and they will go, yeah, it's bad, but the message is good, and so because the message is good, even though it's bad, we need to, you know, appreciate it and lift it up. And I'm like going, I mean, I can see that in some points, but sometimes when it's just absolutely horrible, it's just absolutely horrible, and I don't care about the message. You're going to lose the message. The people aren't going to see the message. They're just going to see some girl talking about her sex junk and, you know, lament, you know, trying to question whether there's something other than hard or moist. And yeah, there's Desert Valley Dry, which is exactly what you would make me if I was a woman. Also, so you watched it out. Am I right? Am I right? Isn't it absolutely horrible? I mean, it's definitely a sight to see, because you're just like, you say it can't get any worse. It can't, and yet it does. I mean, like, if I would be embarrassed to perform that type of thing. I would be completely embarrassed. I mean, unless, like, once again, you know, we're all fooled, and this was, like, meant to be a complete, utter, 100% joke. But for some reason, in my mind, I don't think it is. I just couldn't do it. I would have too much self-respect. And look, you've seen the stuff I've done on my channel, so you know that my self-respect is not very high, and yet it's still high enough not to do that shit. I don't know. I know it's, and like, yeah, and the dancing, the choreography to it is so like I don't even, I can't, and then that and that poor guy who, you know, the nerdy guy with the glasses, you know, has like tears his pants off and he's got the little short shorts. I'm sorry. I just oh man, the things you do for a paycheck, I guess, right? The things you do for a paycheck, and an Emmy, obviously. Well, they haven't won yet, but I have a feeling that, you know, knowing the Academy, any Academy in Hollywood, they love patting themselves on the back and say, we did a good job. We're so progressive. We're so socially minded. You know, we're so good. We're the best people in the world. We are. We're better than the people who watch our shows, because we have to teach the people who watch our shows. The people who watch our shows are mindless, moronic idiots, and we have to teach them about what's right and wrong. We have to teach them what's acceptable and not acceptable. We have to teach them everything, because they're so stupid. And I mean, I do agree, like, what you like, but not like that. I don't get, I mean, what? I mean, I do agree, like, what you like, but not like, oh, no, okay, I get it. So you agree, like, you know, like what you like, but don't be horribly cringy about it or something? Like, is that what you're saying? I think that's the gist. I don't know. It would look weird the way I'm reading it. I don't know why, but yeah. But once again, it's like, yeah, Hollywood is like, you know, we you know, the regular person is so stupid and so lost and so brainwashed that we have to teach them, you know, what it is. That's why we need to get our actors and actresses, who are obviously the smartest people on the world, and because they played a doctor on a movie, they obviously know everything that there is to know about whatever subject they're talking about. Just like me. I mean, I know everything there is to know about every subject I'm talking about, but I don't pretend I'm any of that stuff in real life. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I gotta stop with the Hollywood thing anyways, but yeah, that's just, it's just, I see it and I go, my God. I mean, I can understand, like, smart shows that are clever and genius. You know, like a show like House of Cards. Sure, it might not be as good as it was earlier in its existence, but that show was smart and it was clever and I enjoyed it. I might not agree with everything that it talks about and how it does things, but it's compelling and a darn good watch, and deserves its recognition. But, you know, it's to put aside, you know, actual technique and skill and composition and talent for narrative. I can't. So anyways, so I'm gonna end that part of the rage gone now, and now to a new part of the rage, and that is YouTube privates a video because it was misleading. So a pretty popular, I mean, he's got 1 million subscribers, so I mean, I'd say that's popular. I mean, I would love to have half of that. I mean, literally, I would love to have half of that. Hit the subscribe button down below somewhere, okay? But don't make it such a big deal, cause it should only matter to. I know it's, and I guess maybe I'll go a little sideways here. It's one of the things that I find myself bothered with, the whole identity politics and stuff like that. That goes on. It's so let me just personalize this. So look, I love horror movies. I mean, my channel, I guess you could call it a somewhat horror channel. I mean, the vast majority of my movie reviews and videos are in the horror genre. But I also like playing video games and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, horror movies, video games, science fiction, the sports teams that I follow. Hey, look, I'm wearing my Cumberland College T-shirt. So I went to Cumberland College a long, long time ago, only for 1 year. That's Williamsburg, Kentucky. But it wasn't the college I graduated from, unfortunately. Well, maybe fortunately, I don't know. It was fine. A lot of people tie their sex, their sexual orientation, and they tie their existence to these things. And as opposed to them being like an aspect of what they are, they would find like one thing, or maybe use all of them, and all of them are equally encompassing of who they are. So for instance, there are people who like horror movies, and they have to live that kind of horror movie lifestyle. In other words, that they don't watch any other genres of movies, or they very few watch those any other genres. Everything from how they plan their entertainment, the way they decorate their homes, the clothing they wear, it's all centered around their horror fandom. Their friendships, their relationships are centered around their horror fandom. They might not be able to be good friends. I mean, they could be friends, but they might not be able to be good friends with people who aren't completely down on the horror bandwagon. And then when someone says something like, I'm not really into horror, or even worse, they say, I don't like horror movies, they are like, well, that is just absolutely horrible. How could you be that type of a person? And they have it as like it's an affront to them personally, because they don't value this thing that is only an aspect of their life, but they've created it to become so much encompassing of their existence that it becomes their existence. And I think people do that with a lot of things, whether it is their favorite musician, or the place where they live, or for instance their gender or their sexual orientation. They put all of their identity into something like that, and instead of treating it as like an aspect of who they are, they're treating it as the entirety of who they are. And I think that is, first of all, selling themselves short, because you're narrowing yourself by doing that, and you put yourself in a box, really, because then there can't be any nuance. There can't be any exception to how like the status has to be. And so, like, for instance, I love horror movies, but I can totally see why people don't like horror movies. I love heavy metal music, and I can see why some people don't like heavy metal music. I love video games. I can see why some people might not enjoy playing video games as much as, the next guy. I mean, I like Call of Duty, and I know there's a whole lot of people who despise Call of Duty, whatever. But I like anime, and there are people who think anime is horrible and is the death of Western society or something like that. I mean, a whole bunch of things, but I don't like, they're aspects of who I am, but I don't let them all dominate who I am. I mean, they're all part of this rich tapestry of what makes me me, but it's like, I'm not like, this is me, and if you don't like this, that means you don't like me, and that means, I'm highly offended by anyone who might, so, like, for instance, like, homosexuality. I don't like it. It's, it's not me. I don't like that. I don't care for that. I would not want to participate in that. Unless, they're two pretty ladies, I probably don't want to witness it. But it's not, it doesn't mean I don't like you as a person, and it doesn't mean I don't like, everyone who engages in that. I've known plenty of people who who are homosexual, and I've got no problems with them as human beings. We can joke around about stuff like this. We can talk about stuff, and because they're cool about it, because they realize that is not what defines them as a person. That's just part of one of their aspects. But I have also met some who that is them. That is their being. If that went away somehow, they would have nothing. They would be an empty shell, because they've built their entire life as that is their identity. Homosexual. They're not even their name. They're not even their race. They're not even their sex. They're not even their favorite television show. They are just homosexual. That's it. If homosexuality disappeared for some reason, they would be a blank slate. Because there's nothing left in their life. I mean, that's what they've done. That's them. And if you even say something like, no, it's not for me, they're like super offended and like you're a bigot, you're horrible, you're a homophobe, whatever. And I'm like, no, it's just I don't, just like I don't appreciate scat, because shit eating is nasty. It doesn't mean that I hate the people who do it. Well, I mean, sometimes if I happen to click the wrong link, I might initially be full of rage and anger and hate. But no, I mean, look, it's fine. It's fine. Whatever. I don't care. It's just I don't want to see that. I don't want to see shit eating. But you like it, whatever. You find it tasty, fine. I mean, I don't like Mexican food all that much, so I'm not equating scat with Mexican food. Or am I? Maybe. I mean, Mexican food can lead to scat, but the whole thing is just it's not. That is not you. You are not the person you have sex with. You are not your favorite baseball team. You are not the musical genre you favor most. You're not the video game you play. You're not the person, who you follow, your leader, whatever. You're not those. You are you. And sure, some of those things are part of who you are, but like I said, to just focus on one or to make a bunch of them into like an all-encompassing essence of your being is A, dangerous, and B, it sells yourself short, because you're so much more than the sum of your parts. Really, you are much greater than all of your experiences, all of your likes, dislikes, all of your attitudes, your gender, your orientation. You're greater than all of those things. And just because someone doesn't like an aspect of you doesn't mean. I mean, like listen, like I've got this voice. I know this. I've got this horrible voice. It's horrible. I hate my voice. I listen to it and I'm just like But I mean, there's still people who like to listen to me for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, I guess they like my personality or something. I don't know. Maybe they like some of my point of views. Whatever. I mean, I've gotten plenty of rude YouTube comments saying about how they want me to learn to talk, and no one sounds like that. This is horrible. You're impossible. But it's like, that's just one part of mine. And I mean, I can try to change it, and well, thank you, Grant Matsuda, but I think I should change my voice for the rest of the show, because some people might like this other voice a little bit better. I mean, I can also try to do strange accents. I've been watching a lot of facts videos, which is about a bunch of Irish people trying weird things like alcohol, because alcohol's weird. I found it funny that they actually found some Irish people who have never imbibed alcohol before. Stereotypes can be funny. Anyways, okay, wait, I can't do that. I changed my voice. I changed my voice for an entire video. It was my review of Gremlins, and it was like a sort of a satirical review. Basically, it was like the kids edition, because that movie was marketed for kids, but it's definitely not kid friendly. PG movie with murder and dismemberment and the worst Christmas story ever. Oh my gosh. Anyways, at the end of that, I think my throat was just bleeding. It was tough to do. It's tough to do, but I do appreciate you liking my voice. But getting back to what I was saying, yeah, I think people tie their identity too much into things, in certain things, and they get easily offended because they see an attack, even if it's not an attack, they see any kind of criticism or lack of liking for X item to be a commentary about them personally. They take it way too personally. And it's like, no, you can not like something but still like people who like those things. I mean, we're starting to kind of just divide ourselves too much as people because, if you're not with me, then you're against me type of mentality. And it's like, no, I can totally not like this stuff, but I can still be your friend, and we can still hang out, and we can still talk about things because we still have common areas. So I don't know. It's we got a little sidetracked, but I think that's something that people should usually try to take a step back and realize that they're a very wonderful tapestry. The world is slowly becoming the internet. No, you see, the thing is, the world has always been like the internet. I think the internet is just allowing the world to do it more publicly than privately, because privately they would just think these things and they would have these things inside of their heads, and they would have, it's very polite not to do this and this in public, but that whole anonymity thing of the internet, even if they do know your name, and they should, the space, lack of intimacy, I guess, also allows people to say what's on their mind a little bit more frequently without filter and without restraint. And I think the internet has made people more emboldened to do that. And that can be a bad thing, but it also can be a good thing because, it's you always like to know where people stand on things. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely leading to a less polite discourse. So I think maybe the world is slowly becoming more like the discourse in the internet, but the internet has always been what the world is just an unmasking of the world, because you're stripping away the cultural differences and the politeness and the social nuances of direct interaction from the past with this new type of direct interaction, which has emboldened people, I guess. I don't know. No, the world, I mean, look, I've lived plenty of years before the internet. And I know that the world was fucked up way before the internet started. And the internet just allows us to see how much fucked up we were. I always have these arguments with some of my coworkers because they would see a bunch of news stories and say, "Oh my God, the world's getting worse. The world's becoming more violent." And I'm like, no, I've studied plenty of history in all my years, and no, the world isn't getting any worse. You just know more about how bad the world is than you used to, because now we can see live on television how bad the world is, when before, we kind of just knew it was bad, but we kind of thought, no, it wasn't as bad as we thought. And no, it's as bad as we thought. It's worse than we thought, but that's how the world always was. So anyways, but moving on to what I was going to start there. So basically, okay, YouTube privates a video because they said that the subject was misleading. And so so there's this conservative YouTuber who's got over 1 million subscribers, so he's pretty popular. And I clicked on his video because, you know, the title alone, the title was basically, you know, YouTube takes down his video. And so I always like clicking on takedown videos since I've had videos taken down. So I'm always curious to see what the reasons are. I would like to figure out if I could find the video so I could see what was so bad, because I'm always trying to figure out why exactly my videos got taken down. I mean, I have an idea, but it seems always like bullshit. Like, you know, you have videos that are way worse, and yet they seem to like live and flourish and make their content creators money hand over fist. But my God, I gotta like slap an age restriction on it, or I'm gonna get like in super trouble. I don't know. But so anyway, so I clicked on his video, and so he was basically making a video kind of bashing CNN, which is fine because, you know, CNN deserves all the bashing they can get, because CNN has really lost its way and its credibility, especially in the last couple months. But apparently YouTube put it to private. So instead of actually taking it down, so yeah, he used clickbait. Good job, guy, using clickbait. But they, instead of removing it, they put it as private, which, you know, of course, you can't monetize private videos. And people, I don't know, I mean, I've privated videos because I wanted to like edit or see them, preview things, like whatever, before on YouTube. So I don't know if people, if they have a direct link, can they still see it? I'm not sure. But basically, you can't find it unless you're like given it, like the creator gives you the link or something like that. So I don't know, but because they said it was misleading. And the thing is, you know, according to, you know, what I've seen and what he was talking about, it basically told exactly what was happening. You know, I mean, yeah, he was playing like, you know, he was making fun of CNN, but nothing was, you know, misleading about it. Everything was pretty much, you know, true. And that just popped up into my mind, going like, well, gee, I mean, once again, you know, we got this situation where it's news and it's about controlling what people know, and this whole thing about, you know, fake news and real news. And it just makes me start to wonder, like, how much does this actually happen, where YouTube goes around looking at videos and go, you know what, I don't think the information on this video is actually accurate, or this video is misleading. And that kind of opens up a whole new realm of censorship. I mean, you know, there you know, you can have damn lying and whatnot going on in a video, but, you know, then you just get exposed for lying. Like, if I say something factually ridiculous, like I say, like I'll say, you know, the United States leads the world in awesomeness. I mean, I guess, I don't know if you can even like measure that, but whatever. Like, leads the world in awesomeness and in super freedoms. You know, I make a ridiculous statement, people are gonna go, no, you're wrong. Look, here's the proof that you're wrong. These are like wrong, or okay. The highest tax rate in the United States is 200%, which means if you're in this bracket, you not only give them all the money you made, but you have to give them double what you made. So that's an easy one. If I say that, people go, no, that's wrong. IRS statistics, here's the highest tax bracket. According to this, if you have to pay all of these taxes, you still can't, you know, get over 100% taxes or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it's possible they might go over 100%, because, I mean, it's the government. Anyway, they can, like, earn another buck. I don't know. But the whole point is, this is another thing where if someone's wrong, or if someone's misleading, they're gonna get called out, and it's gonna be pointed out, and people are going to be corrected in the realm of the public discourse. But to have YouTube go in and actually remove a video, I mean, they basically took it out of public circulation because they think, oh man, this is misleading. I mean, that is censorship. That is censorship, and that is just another, I guess you would say, tool that they can be used to go, look, you know what you're saying, we just don't agree with it, and we think because we don't agree with it, you're gonna convince other people to think wrong, and therefore, for the good of everybody, we're gonna have to private your video, or we're gonna have to remove your video, and that's just a scary thing, and I really don't like how things are progressing on online these days, because it's moving further away from free speech. It's moving further away from free expression, from free exchange of ideas. It's moving away from, like, hey, you can get up here and you can say anything, and then, you know, if it's ridiculous, oh man, my forehead, I don't know why. It's kind of just, I like this itch. God, I'll edit that out in post, right? Anyways, but we're just, you know, it used to be like the Wild West, and you could just say what you want, and you know, if you were wrong, of course you were going to get called out on it. People were going to totally destroy you, especially if you were completely ridiculous. But now it's like, oh, everything's got to be looked under this microscope, and we have to be sure that we protect people from things that might offend them, or things that might give them different ideas than what we think are the right ideas, or something like that. And it's just getting well, A, annoying, and it's B, getting scary, because there are places in Europe where you can go to jail. You can go to jail for doing things. A couple weeks ago I talked about that internet law in Germany, where YouTube could be fined, oh, what was it? Was it 50 million? It was a lot. It was millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, for not removing videos that are deemed hate speech. I mean, it's getting worse and worse. We're moving closer and closer to how China deals with the internet. And that's scary. And the thing is, you know, we talk about net neutrality. And yes, you know, I don't want tiered internets, and I don't want the ISPs in complete control of the pipeline, but I don't want the government to be in complete control of the pipeline either, because the government manipulates. The government stealth censors, and you know, it's the same thing. You know, if they control the internet, then they can tell the ISPs, hey, look, if you want to be an internet service provider, you better, like, give us all the information on all your customers, everything they're doing. I don't care if Constitution, whatever, we own the internet now. So I mean, it's just a scary thing that's happening. Is like more and more governments are trying to, like in what was it, just recently in England, one of the PMs, one of the ministers, whatever, because they were getting, like, I guess, harassed online, that they want to have the internet be no longer anonymous. Like, if you go on Twitter, you have to have your real name and prove who you are and have all your information. I mean, it's basically government-sanctioned doxing, and it's scary because like one of the officials of government can't take criticism from the internet. I mean, come on. I mean, you're part of the government. You should be subjected to criticism on a daily basis, because that's how, you know, I mean, I thought England was a democracy, and that's how democracy works, is that the people who put you in office, you know, when you do things wrong, they put your hooves to the fire, and they do that by voicing their displeasure. And sure, sometimes they can be rude and obnoxious and mean, and you know, death threats. Look, death threats are stupid. Never never do death threats. I've said this a million times. You're not helping your cause by threatening people with death. I mean, that's just stupid. I mean, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. In ISIS, when you're ISIS, I know you guys are big fans. I've checked my analytics. Saudi Arabia is up there. I'm not equating Saudi Arabia with ISIS, but I mean, that is a pretty big deal in the Middle East. So, look, death threats don't work, but then again, ISIS doesn't just threaten death. They actually do the killing. But still, it's not the way to do things. No, it's not. Killing people is not the way to do things. Death threats, not the way to do things. Please don't. You're not helping your cause. You're not helping your cause. But once again, here we go. We're seeing this move towards authoritarianism, where you're giving government more control over things in life that you want to not be controlled by the government. You want it to be free. And yes, it means it can be rough. Yes, you could get hurt, but that's part of freedom. Freedom is the ability to hurt yourself. It is. I mean, that's like one of the greatest freedoms is that, like jumping out of a plane, you could end up dead. And, I mean, it happens. It just happened just recently with one of the, what was it, the voice, one of the guys from Fear the Walking Dead. I think he did like voice narration. He died in a skydiving accident. I mean, if you really want to protect people, the government should say you can't jump out of an airplane unless the airplane is going to crash. I mean, that's simple. There would never be any more skydiving accidents because there wouldn't be any more skydiving. But then again, you're taking away people's freedom to skydive. And, like, you know, once again, driving is dangerous. People die. I mean, it's just massive amounts of people dying on the roads. But the easiest way to prevent car crashes, just have cars be illegal. But you're taking away freedom. You're taking away choice. You're taking away movement. And so, look, people are going to say things that are mean. People are going to do things you don't like. People are going to say things that are outrageous and stupid. But it doesn't destroy you. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't mess with you unless you allow it to. So we really need to grow thicker skin in this world and realize that the world doesn't revolve around us, and that there are plenty of people out there and they have the right to do plenty of things, and you might not like it, but just to have the government go and censor things. Hey, what's up?
How's it going, Internet?
And to have YouTube private things just because, you know, they think, oh, it's misleading is wrong. If it's misleading, the community will take care of it. They will say, hey, you were wrong here, you were wrong here, you were wrong here, and that's how we should be doing things. So, anyways, I'm gonna end that rant there, which, my God, I still have like 3 things left, and I've already got people here on the internet.
Oh yeah, I'm here early. You can do your thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm losing like my my audience, anyways. I got on this huge rant about. Well, YouTube privated a video. They didn't remove it, but they put it private, so it was taken out of the public because they said it was misleading. Because the guy was like making fun of CNN. The video's back, by the way, because the guy like, you know, hey, what the hell is going on with this? But it just shows another thing is like, YouTube shouldn't be doing that. I mean, that's basically censorship right there.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're saying things that are wrong, the community will take care of that. Drifter, I was subscribed to you? I don't know. Were you subscribed to me? I don't know who all my... I mean, I don't have a lot of subscribers, but I don't know them all. And, I mean, I guess you were subscribed to me. I don't know. You got a notification? I've actually gotten notifications for live streaming events from people I wasn't subscribed to. But if you watch enough of their videos, maybe you get notified anyways. I'm sorry if I somehow stealth subscribed. I wish I would know how to do that, because I would just totally stealth subscribe everyone and get my wonderful silver YouTube button. That's great. But I don't know. I wish you were the real, like, I wish you were the other drifter, though. The Call of Duty player. Because he's a pretty cool guy. I'm not saying you're not a cool guy. I don't know who you are, but you could be an awesome guy. You could probably be better than that guy. I mean, honestly, that guy can be a little bit much sometimes. But hey, thanks for stopping by and checking out the horrible stream here and asking a question. Yeah, I mean, I can't go through all 14,800 whatever subscribers to see if your name pops up. But, I mean, you know, if you don't like me, you can unsubscribe. I mean, it's not going to hurt my feelings or anything. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, that's what the thing is interesting about subscriptions is, like, you could subscribe to someone from, like, years back and forget you totally subscribed to them. And then all of a sudden you, like, find a video on your, like, feed or whatever and go, wait, I'm subscribed to that guy? You know, like, oh, yeah, probably, like, a million years ago. Anyways. But I'm going to move on. From that one YouTube controversy to another controversy. This whole episode has just been me raging about stuff.
Okay, that's cool. Raging is fun.
So this is the next one, and honestly, this is not even going to be about rage. This is just me being just amused by the whole situation. So the new Doctor Who has been revealed, and I'm going to be very honest. I've seen maybe a grand total of 4 Doctor Who episodes. And I think 2 of them were in the 80s. So so I'm not a Doctor Who fan, but it just seems funny that we've got another shitstorm because the new Doctor Who has a vag. She has a vag. Mm-hmm. She's not a man anymore.
How dare she?
Doctor Who is now a woman.
Where did she get off being a woman?
Doctor Who is now a woman. Okay? So Doctor Who is now a woman. You know, this is like monumental.
Like, didn't they do that in Quantum Leap, like, multiple times? I don't know.
Well, Doctor Who's not in Quantum Leap.
Whatever, it's the same concept.
I'm not
a Doctor Who fan either, so if I'm, like, sacrilege to you guys, sorry.
That could be a nice crossover, though. Quantum Leap Doctor Who. I mean, you know. But, anyways, the thing is, like, okay, so this is, like, historic. It's the first woman Doctor. Okay, cool. You know, I mean, not Doctor overall, but, you know, the character Doctor. And, of course, it seems almost weird that everyone hates it. Like, there's a whole bunch of people who, of course, go, oh, it's a woman. They're blatantly pandering to social justice by making it a woman. And you're like, okay, you know, you can understand that that's what's going to happen. You know, I would expect it to happen, and it did happen. But then you have people on the other side going, the new Doctor is a white woman. She's not a trans black female. Doctor Who is still white supremacy. Doctor Who is still white supremacy. The BBC is all about white, you know, white normalcy, heteronormativity, and it's like, so it's like, look, you got a woman. And then that's not enough. It's like, no, she's got to be trans and black and maybe partially Martian or something. And then we've reached equality. Oh, yeah, she also has to drink men's tears and kill them. Then we're good. Then we're good. I don't know. I find it funny that it's like you've pissed off everyone for some reason. No, I mean, no, there are people who either don't care, like me, and this guy, he don't give a shit. And there are people who actually like the show who don't care either. And then there are people who are like, oh, that's good, you know, whatever. You know, it's about time we got a woman Doctor Who. But the funny thing is, like, the opposite sides of the social justice, you know, battle both hate it for different reasons. And it's just so, it shows how ridiculous both of them are. In a way. I mean, look, I think it's kind of pandering. I think it is because they never really, like, I mean, you would think, like, in all those years they would have even played with the idea until now everything is like hyper, sensitive to that type of stuff. So every time something like that happens, in the back of your mind you think, well, was this natural, or was this, oh, you know what, we can, do a nice PR thing here. I don't know. I mean, that's the sad days we live in, because it's become kind of like that, because people are pushing for things like, why can't Spider-Man be gay? Why can't Captain America be a woman? Things like that. It's like, and because of situations like that, when they do something like this, they make you think that, well, was it really because they had this cool idea and they needed to make it do this for that idea to work? Or was it because they thought, hey, you know what? We're going to show people how progressive we are, and so we're going to, do this. Just like the whole Ghostbusters remake was a blatant, and the Ocean's 11 remake, because, it's Ocean's 11, but it's all women. And you go, well, obviously the women angle wasn't because, we really need to remake Ocean's 11. And let's cast the best people for the job. Hey, look, they all happen to have been women. What a coincidence. No, that wouldn't happen. But anyway, so I don't know. But I thought it was funny because as an outsider from like the Doctor Who thing, the funny how like the old saying, if you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing nobody. And it seems like there's all this controversy and rage from every side of the spectrum, which means they might have done the right thing. Because if you pissed everyone off, perhaps it was the right move, right? If you're on like if you want to be in the middle of the two-sided debate, if you're pissing off both sides, you must be like doing something right. I don't know. I thought that was funny. So moving on to the next statement, the next thing. So not as much of me raging as me just having fun at the other ragers at Doctor Who's expense. So I hope those naughty aliens treat Doctor Who with dignity and respect if he's ever captured and they try to torture her. You know what? I don't know if Doctor Who's ever been captured or tortured, so I don't know if that's even a thing, if that's even possible. I don't know how Time Lords work. My goodness. I mean, they're Time Lords. I mean, you know what? Doctor Who can go back in time before this controversy and fix it, right? I don't know. Anyways. So Destructoid and Ars Technica prove Gamergate right. So if any of you guys who don't know what Ars Technica and Destructoid are, those are quote-unquote journalistic websites that do cover things to do with gaming. And for those who don't know what Gamergate is, well, Gamergate is this hashtag movement that happened in response to the lack of transparency in gaming media and gaming journalism, the whole, like everyone's in bed with everyone, sometimes literally, and kind of like erupted from like this controversy with Zoe Quinn, who seemingly was trading sexual favors for getting good reviews in gaming journalism. I mean, allegedly, but seeming like it was actually what was going on. And just sort of shone the spotlight on, the gaming journalism needing oversight, needing to be, people need to see what's going on because we're trusting these people, and if they're all trading deals for review scores and stuff like that, and this stuff, and there was always rumbling about that stuff way before that happened, things like, when you would watch a show like X-Play, and it's a AAA game, so what 5 out of 5 score are they going to give it now, right? Because think they're all paid for. So both of those journalistic entities decided to cover the controversy with Alex Maurer and the whole copyright DMCA nightmare that was going on, and the legal thing going on between Alex Maurer and Imagos Softworks. And so you start to read at least the Destructoid. The Ars Technica one is like, so you would say the Destructoid one kind of resembles a news story, while Ars Technica one kind of resembles a summary of that news story. Like I think they literally, the guy read that article and go, that's a story. Oh, I better change some of these things so I don't consider myself plagiarizing. Man, this seems more like a summary because I took like a whole page and turned it into like 2 paragraphs. Oh well, bing! Where's my paycheck? So you start reading the Destructoid one and you think, okay, you know, looks like they're gonna go in and tell you about all the sides. And then all of a sudden it's just basically completely pro Alex Maurer. And that just boggles the mind. I mean, and so it makes you start to think, do they have an agenda here? I mean, are they taking sides with Alex Maurer because of a certain, I would say, I don't know, social justice narrative agenda? Because Alex Maurer happens to be, okay, I'm back. What I miss? Oh, hey, there's a new guy. Hi, new guy.
What's up, Grant?
Yep. You missed me talking about Doctor Who having a vag, and I don't really give a shit about it, but I thought it was funny that everyone on both sides of the argument seemed to like dislike it for some reason, because people say, oh, it's pandering, and others are saying you're not pandering enough because she's not like black transgender or something. Anyways, but whatever. So now I'm talking about the Destructoid and Ars Technica article on the whole Alex Maurer DMCA affair. And so both of them are basically pro Alex Maurer. And looks like the people who wrote these did zero research. Look, I don't do a lot of research, but at least I know what's going on in the whole Alex Maurer Imagos affair. And just in case none of you know what's going on, so Alex Maurer was contracted to do music by Imagos Softworks for the game Star Mazer DSP. Because something happened, they had to let Alex go. And Alex is suing them because Alex believes that there wasn't enough payment for the work that was done. And because of that, Alex thinks that Imagos is in breach of contract, and as an attempt to get people to be against Imagos, Alex Maurer went to YouTube and went through a DMCA takedown storm of any game that featured Alex Maurer's created music. And that was, Alex Maurer did not have the right, because the contract stated that Imagos would own all the rights to the music, and that you were only brought on to compose it, but Imagos will own it. And I've worked for places that do a similar type of thing. Like if I'm working at a place and let's say I come up with some idea, that place owns that idea. Even though it's my idea, the place owns that idea because it's part of the contract. It's part of working there. If I come up with, you know, especially, like, I guess if it's an idea that's not related to the work, that's a different story. But if I come up with an idea that's related to the work, it's their idea. I don't know if you have that same situation.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, so it's a common thing. The business that you work for, they're gonna own this stuff unless it's in the contract that says, you know, the music is gonna be yours. But I digress. So takes down all these videos, puts strikes on all these channels, holds them hostage, and basically tells them, hey, go talk to Imagos, you know, tell them to give me some money. And I mean, that's basically what was happening. Tell them to you know, do what I want, and I'll take the strikes off your channel. and I'll stop trying to ruin your lives, which is like completely wrong. And that led to Alex Maurer issuing death threats against the attorney for Imagos. People who were covering this story, like Sid Alpha, was receiving death threats from Alex Maurer. Alex Maurer was involuntarily committed by friends and family because of the, I would have to say, craziness of Alex Maurer's actions during this entire situation. Was not, Alex Maurer hired an attorney. The attorney tried to do a good job. Then Alex Maurer fires the attorney. Alex Maurer claiming the attorney was trying to sabotage the case. And then when the attorney was trying to say, hey, look, are you sure you want to do this? Look, we really need to talk about, what's going on, because I don't think you should be representing yourself. And then started to claim that the attorney was harassing this person. Just a bunch of craziness. And then the restraining order that happened, the judge said, no, Alex, you're in the wrong. You have to release all these claims, and you can't claim anymore until the whole legal thing is settled. And you read the Destructoid article, and it paints a picture of Alex Maurer being the victim in all of this. Alex Maurer being the victim of Imagos. Alex Maurer being the victim of people harassing and sending death threats, but doesn't mention any of the stupidity Alex Maurer was doing. None of the abuse of the copyright system that Alex Maurer was using. And the fact that Alex Maurer was threatening to kill people and kill themselves because of this, and still playing the victim. And then these articles come out, and why? Because Alex Maurer is a male to female trans for some reason, I guess, is the only thing that I can think of. Because it fits the social justice narrative that, hey, look, here is a marginalized person who is getting abused by evil business, being abused by evil lawyer, and being abused by those nasty, evil, bigoted gamers. How dare they? And now that they're being attacked on YouTube by those evil, nasty, bigoted YouTubers. And just sort of glides over the fact that Alex Maurer started this whole thing by attacking innocent YouTubers, Twitch streamers, taking the game down from Steam, issuing all these false DMCA copyright takedowns, and then when people started to say, hey, this is wrong, attacked them, threatened them. And then, of course, you're going to get a blowback. People are going to see this, and they're going to take up the mantle of justice upon themselves, and they're going to go to your Twitter and call you a horrible person, and of course will do horrible things. And like I've always said, never send death threats because you don't help your cause. And still claims to be the victim in all this, when if you don't screw with YouTube, you don't issue death threats, and you just, let the courts decide, this wouldn't even be a story. But because Alex Maurer went and basically unleashed the dogs of hell, and now is drawing the ire of YouTube gaming community, the Twitch gaming community, it just shows that Gamergate was right. That gaming journalist sites like Destructoid, Ars Technica, are more about pushing an agenda than actually talking about the actual news within the gaming industry. And same thing like Polygon. Oh my God, just don't even. I'm not even going to talk about Polygon. Never mind. But it's the same thing, where they ignore the true story because it doesn't fit the narrative that they want to push. And because let's face it, there is an agenda. We've seen it. It's been going into the mainstream of video gaming journalism for the last several years. The way they embraced Zoe Quinn, the way they embraced Anita Sarkeesian, the way that like reviewers now are taking other things into consideration. Like for instance, okay, I'll talk about Polygon. Polygon said Bayonetta 2 was an awesome game, but they couldn't give it a good score because it was too sexualized. It's a game. You're a game reviewing magazine, internet magazine. People want to know if the game's good. So you give it a good score because the game is awesome, and then maybe you put a note saying, the game is awesome, it's fun to play, but some people might be bothered by the amount of sexuality in the game. Just putting that out there so that you guys can know. But it's still an awesome game. Oh man, I guess the gang's all here.
No, just the two of us.
But that's the point. It's like, but Polygon needed to push an agenda of like, oh man, you know what? Games are over sexualized now, so we have to like take points off of the final score, even though they're scoring on graphics, gameplay, storyline, how fun it is, and oh wow, you can see her tits. No longer a 10 out of 10. We got to give it a 7 out of 10 or something like. I don't know. But it's just another example of how narrative, like for instance, all these Game of the Year awards for Dragon Age Inquisition, and it wasn't even the best game that came out that year. But because Dragon Age Inquisition had a lot of progressive options in it, it had to be Game of the Year. It had to be. It didn't even sell that well. I can find Dragon Age Inquisition in the bargain bin. And still, games that came out that same year are still like double its price and played and talked about. But I mean, it's just sad, and it proves Gamergate right. Gamergate was fighting against this intrusion into the gaming journalism, fighting against the disingenuousness of gaming journalism, and once again, Destructoid. That article proves that Gamergate is right, and Gamergate is still relevant, and we still have a ways to go to get real gaming journalism that is focused on the real stories and is about gaming and not about pushing a narrative and pushing an agenda. Because you know what we want? We want accurate reviewing. We want honest and accurate reviewing, and we don't want, manipulation of a story. We don't want manipulation of facts or omission of facts. That's the thing that's actually misleading. But I'm not saying that they should be like banned or nothing. No, I'm just saying that we need to put up or shut up. And put up by meaning stop going to those websites, stop feeding their ad revenue, basically expose them publicly and saying, hey, look, these people are doing the wrong thing. They're getting it wrong all the time, and they should lose their legitimacy in the public sphere, and the market then will decide their fate. So, anyways, there's my little Destructoid Ars Technica rant, and that my God, it's almost 6. I might have to leave that last thing until later, but it is an interesting one. It's a video from, and I can't even pronounce this. It's like some German name, whatever. Kurgzgesagt, whatever. In a nutshell, he did a video about automation and how automation was different than the automation in like the first and second industrial revolutions, and that how we're using technology to actually get machines to learn how to take over all our jobs. And they showed a bunch of examples, and they're very interesting examples of how you have like information management systems are basically finding freelancers and studying every single thing they do when it comes to how they're working, and figuring out what's the most efficient things and what works and what doesn't work, so that in the future all of that can be automated by a computer program. So, for instance, like a software engineer, they actually have a program that while the software engineers work, they learn how they work and figure out a way to eliminate that person. So basically, it's like an assassin learning the ins and outs of their target. So they're finding the best way to eliminate that target. And so there's this idea of like how like there's not going to be enough jobs because automation is going to get rid of all the jobs, and you know, you're going to have self-sustaining situations where, you know, because there was always like, well, you need maintenance or you need like, you know, this and that, and it's like, well, no, it'll get to a situation where the machines can diagnose themselves and fix themselves and install themselves and code themselves and replicate themselves and do all, you know, all of a sudden we're like in Terminator thing. But what I want to talk about is that we can never get to a point where it ruins society in the way that we'd have to like overthrow the machines and start over again. Yes, Skynet, right. But what my point was is like we could end up going into this situation like how Star Trek happens. And I wanted to talk about like so Star Trek needs to happen. A couple things have to happen. One is you need to have a near infinite supply of energy that is also nearly inexpensive, like almost free. And they have that with their matter, antimatter, dilithium crystal reactions. That they have almost infinite amount of energy, and it costs them so little because, and we're getting to energy costing very little because of things like automation, things like fracking, things like that has brought down the price of energy quite a bit. And if we can figure out a way to, you know, perfect maybe solar energy, things like that, we could get to a point where we could have really cheap energy that's very plentiful. So that's the very first thing that you need. Because, I mean, if energy is expensive, then, you know, we need to generate value so that we can get that energy because it's expensive. Once it becomes inexpensive, then, you know, and one of the ways making things inexpensive is having it be very, very vast and plentiful, because scarcity also brings up the price. So we get that. And the second thing, and this is the big step, and this is all about, you know, innovation and technology, we need to have infinite resources. And we're not talking energy in this situation. We're talking about food and materials. Once you get those two things, you have your utopian society. Because, you know, what causes conflict most times outside of just disagreements is scarcity, fighting over resources. And so having enough food to feed everyone is a very important thing. And having enough resources to build, to create shelters, to create roads and infrastructure, that is a very important thing. And of course in Star Trek they did that using the cheating of replication. Because the replicator basically turns matter into anything. So it converts matter into energy and then takes that energy and reforms it into a different type of matter. So they can replicate anything from food to building materials to advanced web. I mean, and we're sort of kind of having a similar thing with 3D printing. We're being able to turn a block of material into another object. We're not, you know, we're definitely not as God, I'm searching for the word. We're not up to the point where we can do like the whole replication thing. But if we could figure out ways to have nearly unlimited food and nearly unlimited resources, then there won't be need for jobs. There wouldn't be a need for jobs. Everything can be automated at that point. we could create value in other things in our lives. And so, like, the automation thing can be scary, but it's leading toward a point where we can actually maybe achieve a sort of type of utopia in a way, because once we get rid of certain struggles, and these are fundamental struggles that have been from the history of time, we can eliminate the need for jobs, because you're say, well, who's going to build things? Well, machines are going to build things, because we've made, well, who's going to program? Someone who goes, I don't want to do this anymore, is going to program a machine to do the thing that he doesn't want to do anymore. I mean, that's basically how all of our progress has come up, you know. I don't like being cold, I'm going to start a fire. It's like, I like having a fire, but I don't like the fact that I'm breathing in this smoke and I'm choking on it. So I'll create a way to, you know, it's like, oh, you know what? I don't like having to burn, you know, wood. I wish there was a better, you know, it's always this growth, because we're trying to find better ways of doing things, and we're trying to eliminate things we don't like doing. And so, I mean, so we might end up with the Star Trek utopia, or we could end up with Terminator, and the machines will rise up against us, and we will have to build well, no, the machines build the time machine, but whatever. I mean, it's funny how the machines build the one thing that causes them to lose. Hey, maybe that was a flaw in their programming. Anyways, but...
Well, you know what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
They're going to create another movie to show why that's a flaw in the system, i.e. Rogue One.
Okay. So they're gonna retcon it,
yep,
by making a Terminator story
with an engineer who, while building Skynet, knows the destructive potential on it and creates the exhaust vent.
I love when you said the engineer side. I thought you were crossing it over with Alien for a second. I'm like, oh my god, an alien from LV-223 knew everything that was going to happen and knew the black goo was going to turn against them, and so they, oh my god, it's just a gigantic mess. Anyways, okay, I can feel the tension behind it. So I'm gonna end this.
It's just the inability of us not able to talk while you're doing your monologue.
No, you can talk, Derry. Yeah, you can.
Oh, sure. I was about ready to do paper rock scissors with Tim, at least doing something in the background.
I'm also trying to figure out if I'm supposed to be the good angel or the bad angel over your shoulder.
No, you're supposed to be yourself. It's like
you would be the bad angel because you're on the left side, and you would be the good angel because you're on the right side. Because I think that's how they break it down. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting because I see the good that can happen with all of this, and I think we can get around the whole AI becoming evil thing by being smart enough to make learning machines smartly. You can make learning machines that learn how to do a job, and then not give a shit about anything else outside of that aspect. And that's the key. We can't have a machine that just basically becomes a human, because that's the problem. That's the thing that always leads to the end. Having a machine that learns how to build another machine, and that's all it knows, and learns how to do it, and do it the most efficiently way possible. I mean, unless for some reason killing humans makes making other machines more efficient, I don't think we have to worry about it, and we just have to make sure that our deaths don't make things more efficient. That's all we need to do.
We need sex robots without a brain. They don't need to talk about anything. They just need to perform their duty.
No. The sex robots need to know what you like.
True.
And sometimes you do want them to talk dirty to you.
Well, yes, but you know, we don't want them going outside their program.
No, we definitely don't want sex robots. I mean, look. Oh my god, this is the worst joke ever. Look, we've already tried that experiment with women, and it did not work. So we learned that. We learned that the hard way.
Now that
I'm just kidding, internet. I'm going to hell for that joke.
now the interesting thing about you were talking about the Star Trek and the three things. Obviously automation is getting to the point where it's replacing a lot of people's jobs. But even Wonko, probably a few months back, we had this discussion before, where it's going to hit a certain point where you're going to have the people who need and the people who do, because there is going to be that point where a lot of people are going to be replaced by the robots, and those are going to be the easy jobs. What are we going to do with those people to keep them satisfied? Because you will still have an interim where there are the smart people. Not to say the robot replacement are not smart, but I guess to say the people who want to create the robots. I could see society splitting up into two, and honestly, I can understand supporting the non-robot or the robot replaced people. The unfortunate part about it is people get jealous and they want the same things as the worker class. Because I really see a much bigger divide between the worker class and we'll say the entitlement class, because they're replaced by robots.
But the situation though is, I mean, unless you want to chime in.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, he described it pretty well. At some point, we're just going to get to the point where we don't need people working in order to sustain society.
Yeah, honestly, tomorrow we really don't need employees working at McDonald's or Burger King. You might have a couple cooks. That's it. You push a little button on the screen of exactly what you want, and you drive up. You put your credit card swipe it through the machine, and you have your food. I mean, there is so many jobs tomorrow that can be completely obliterated once we make that step to saying we're fully automating this.
But this is the point. Then is the cost of living would actually decrease significantly, and those people without jobs can actually live on less, because of how efficient everything's become.
Right,
but everybody wants everything though.
So that's the problem. Is people need to learn that they can't get, if they want something, they're going to have to put the effort into getting it.
Good
and
luck
that
with
means, well, I mean, that's just going to be, that's basic morality, right?
Right.
There.
Yeah, but here was the perfect example.
If you want something, you work to go get it, and if that means learning a new skill, then if you really want it, put in the effort.
Here's a perfect example. Wonko is very good with what he wants to do, and he doesn't do frivolous things. So, from his position, he would be in the worker force because he, would be programming the robots, he'd developing the robots, he'd be engineering them.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that the non-working group wants the same or more than what Wonko does for himself. Like, for instance, he doesn't have a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One because he chooses what he wants. But the have-nots want that, and of course now there's a little bit of being jaded. Like, wait a minute, I'm working extremely hard for what I get, and yet this person's not working at all and getting more than what I get.
Well, that's the thing, is you don't give them more. Because
the problem is in society right now, that's what they're looking at.
Well,
everybody wants everything. Everybody wants a $600 cell phone.
But there's
entitlement.
difference in actual perception though, because they might seem to have more than what he has, but they might not have everything that you have because of your job. You've got your friends and your connections, and you've got purpose. You've got something to do. You might find fulfillment in what you're doing, and these people, they might have more stuff than you, but they might not be emotionally have what you have. They might not, feel fulfilled like you are fulfilled. So there's difference levels. If you're just talking about stuff and using that, then you're in a no-win situation, because there's always going to be someone who's got more stuff than you.
Yeah,
and there's always people who can play the system to gain more stuff with doing the least amount of effort.
I guess the idea is, though, what Wonko is doing is providing the people who aren't working the stuff that they're getting. So it's like, wait a minute, I'm working really hard for the person X who doesn't have a job, so he can get a PlayStation 4, where I'm not even getting a PlayStation 4 because I feel that I can't budget that with what I want to do. I guess you just don't get a PlayStation 4, but you should feel happy.
Yeah.
Well, the PlayStation 4 isn't all that.
Nah, exactly. That's all.
No, man. But no, I don't see, like, you're talking about giving those people welfare.
Well, we have to. I mean,
if we get to that point, I think you could get the PlayStation 4 for almost nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the point. Is like if these people
if
can
you get to
afford
the
that
point
stuff,
where
that means
everything is-
he definitely can afford all that stuff.
well, yeah, well, not quite. There's going to be a period of time. Remember, you were talking about the unlimited materials. Yes, once the materials are unlimited and the development of PlayStation 4 is all done by 100% automation with only 1 or 2 people controlling the show, then you're exactly right. Everybody's going to have a PlayStation 4.
Grant Matsuda, I look forward to serving underneath your world domination. Don't kill me when the death armies come. All right, remember, I was on your side.
Yeah.
But yes, if you want to dominate the world, work hard for it. You're gonna have to work your ass off though, because a lot of the world will probably try to kill you.
Yes. You got you got to be on the worker side of the curve. Once this whole automation thing goes through, you want to be on the worker side.
I'm saying, yeah, but you always want to be on the worker side of everything.
Not everybody.
I'm saying
people love being the having the ability to do absolutely nothing.
Well, no, but you always want to be on the worker side because it's the most you get the most bang for everything on the worker side. Because, like I said, when you get to the situation, because if we talk about, and I don't like talking about it, but minimum basic income or universal basic income.
Universal income, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be such a small amount. And if we get to, and I mean, there was a conservative speaker who came up with a really interesting idea. It's like, if you just got rid of all the welfare programs and just replace that spending with a universal basic income, so there's no longer unemployment, there's no longer food stamps, there's no longer all these assistance programs, and I think they did the math, and it was like about $15,000 per person. Like everyone gets $15,000.
So.
And then whatever you do after that is whatever you do. You get your a millionaire is still getting that $15,000.
No. What I'm saying is a mother and a child, they get 30. Or is it people?
I don't know if it's a certain age.
What if you cut the middleman out? Don't give them money. Just go. Here's what you need to live. Here's your toilet paper. Here's your paper towels. Here's your food. Here's a house. And if you want something better, work for it.
Yeah, but you got things like I don't know if they're getting rid of property taxes, but you'd have to get rid of property taxes.
Well, the other side is then the people running for government have nothing to stand on. See, what's going to happen is if you start doing that, then someone's going to run for government. It's like, wait a minute, all you're getting is toilet paper? You deserve more than toilet paper. You vote for me, and I'll get you a car. Vote for me, I'll get you your big screen TV. And so that all just becomes
I think the situation though is that the government is determining what you need, which is wrong. If they give you the money right off the bat, you're the one who determines what you need. And of course, if you screw it up, it's not the government's fault. It's your fault. Personal responsibility. I know.
No,
it's a crazy idea. It's a crazy idea being responsible for yourself. I know. It's insanity. But if you do that, people want extra money. They go out and get a job, and then they get extra money. But it's not like they need that extra. Because they could probably reasonably pay their bills with this money. And yeah, sure, you're not going to get the big screen TV, but if you want the big screen TV, take a part-time job. If you want, that car, get a part-time job, things like that. You add value to that from there, and I see how that could possibly work. And that's kind of like the situation that would happen that I was talking about, is that when you get automation to the certain point where you have that lack of jobs, the cost of living would be so low that people could live off of very little, and if they want extra stuff, then they're going to have to put in the stuff for the extras. The people, people don't want to hear it, but for the most part, the people who get all the good stuff earned it. I mean, like, I got this TV because I saved money and did smart things, and because I earned it. You know, and most everything I've gotten in life, other than the stuff that I've won, yes, thank you, victory. But no, I'm just saying is because it's earned. And if I, you know, didn't need it, like if I needed to do something else, I would have gotten what I've gotten, and that money would have gone somewhere else. Anyways, but yeah, it's like 6 p.m. It's almost been 2 hours. I've gotta end it. But it was great having the conversation with you guys out there in internet land. And I'm Zankoku Tenshi. This guy is Rotsu. I don't know why he calls him Wonko.
Wonko99 is
I know,
my online handle.
Is it still your online handle?
Yeah.
I was like, you haven't used it in years. And then the guy who's very silent, is he even still here?
No, nobody.
No, there's no one else here.
Nobody else got here yet.
Oh.
No, they're on their way.
Oh, that was you? I thought you were Dan for a second.
Nope.
Okay. Anyways, but yeah, so have a good Friday evening. I'm gonna go play some games and have fun. And
So when are we gonna live stream Ultimate World? One night Ultimate World?
well, first of all, we need enough people to do it.
Well, not right
And
now.
and second of all, we need to have
Mount the camera on the ceiling.
yeah, we need to figure out how we're gonna do that. I mean, I definitely wanted a better camera, and you know, I definitely need a better internet connection because I keep seeing how my kbps keeps going redlining, and I'm losing frames like a mofo here.
That's your upload, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Here's my internet guy. Oh, yeah.
Internet guy.
Internet dude there. Anyways,
It's okay. He's my internet dude.
anyways, I keep asking that too. Yeah.
You want?
Yeah, I know
One night
people
Ultimate
want to
World.
see that. I know it is fun. I mean, I've been watching this channel for some reason. They decided to do run through hard mode on Castlevania Harmony of Despair, and the one guy knows what he's doing, and the other 4 have never played the game before, and it is absolutely hilarious watching them try to beat Dracula and just getting, you know, murdered over and over again.
I just played that Sunday at Wando's house.
Oh, you were playing that?
Yeah, I really want to play that. I wish they port that to Xbox One.
They need to make a sequel.
Oh, that was so awesome.
Get off your ass, Tommy. Make that game happen. Anyways.
Stop making.
I also don't think it'll happen, at least with our group anyway, because you need gold to
That's true.
play it, and I'm not doing Xbox Gold again. I don't have any interest in that.
Dude, if you get enough Bing rewards, you can have gold for free like me.
Oh, sure. I just don't use it.
Anyways, we got tons of free games.
That's
Anyways,
the
I don't know.
PlayStation 4 that I'm not bothering to buy because I just don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry, you gotta pay for PlayStation Plus to play online with that. So you just join the PC master race, right?
Mm-hmm.
Steam.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So guys, see you later. Have fun. Stay sexy, internet, and I will see you next time.